Hello, Reese from the Point Music Podcast thingy. Back. It's been a while. Waiting on. I had to wait on NBN connection for the new house. This is the new setup. So, yeah. And for the podcast, the new podcast for me coming back, I had special guests Tim and Sam from Sametime. Killing it with the new EP. So we basically talk all about that, pretty much, because it's a ripper of an EP. So buckle in, enjoy the chats, ladies and gentlemen, and people of all sorts. Tim and Sam from Sametime.
Well, are we allowed to swear just quickly?
You're rolling right now, and you could swear all you want.
No.
Tim and Sam, same time. How are we?
Good. How are you?
Good. Yeah, you can swear. Just don't try to drop the C bombs. Really.
Yeah, all right,
Yeah.
I'll give this. We did a podcast yesterday, and I swore accidentally, but I forgot to ask beforehand, so I got scared. But that's good.
No. Swearing's fine. Usually it'll be me swearing more than anything else, but yeah, that's all good.
All right.
Hey, congrats on the EP. Maybe
Thanks so
we
much.
can get high. It's a banger, man. Guys,
Thank you.
It's very cool.
Appreciate it.
So
Yes.
well, let's get into the story about this because there's the stuff I want to talk about prior to the whole EP thing and that, because you guys have had a hell of a journey, and I've been around for a long time, so I've been watching.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk about the EP first. So it's not when I first heard of you guys, and obviously you've been busking in that and spending your time, and it's just been the two of you doing that. And when I saw you open at Night Quarter, you opened the actual night. I was there for that industry event, and
Awesome.
I was just like, this is not what I was expecting at all from you guys, and not in a bad way. It was like, holy shit, they grew up. All right, cool.
Right.
And just total evolution of your sound, because I always thought you were a bit more rootsy and all that kind of stuff behind you, and then next thing you know, bang, you got this fully polished sound, like coming out in overalls, and you had this whole pop thing going. I'm like, whoa. So when I got word of this whole EP, thanks to your publicist and that, and I had a sneaky listen to it, yeah, very cool. So have you guys always been into this whole pop thing, or has it just been basically you've been honing it, or what's the deal?
Well, I mean, for like you said earlier, I mean, we started off as buskers. It was very rootsy sounding, a lot of folk songs, if that we were writing, let alone, covering and whatnot. And we were doing that for such a long time until we decided that we kind of wanted to stop busking and doing the cover shows at the bars and pubs and stuff, and start working on our own sound and our own original music. And what was I going to say?
This happens a lot.
Once we stopped doing those and we started working towards our own music, it was kind of like we were young, we still are, but a lot younger then, and we couldn't make our minds up on what genre we wanted to stick in. So we were kind of bouncing all over the place. We went to quite a rock sound, and then to quite an indie pop, band sound, a bit ballpark music-y.
Yep.
And then, we had a couple of songs here and there that we released and ended up taking back because we were so indecisive on what we were as a band. And I would say it was probably only February last year, right before COVID hit, that we found the sound that we wanted. And it was actually the day we wrote Get to Know Ya, which was the first single of that EP that we released.
Yep.
And it was the first time we probably agreed on something as brothers. We clash all the time over such silly things, but being in a band and working together, there was a lot of, Sam's very into a polished pop sound, where I was kind of into, Oasis and Arctic Monkeys and, Brit rock sound. And
Well, there's always a merger of those two sounds when you're going all the way back through the 90s and listening to that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It's easily to blend the two together.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, and then we found it was, I think, in 2016, when we were still sort of developing our sound, we came across the 1975.
Yeah.
And that kind of changed everything, because before then I was very stubborn and against using things like VSTs and synthesizers and electronic drums. I wanted everything to be real. I was like, it needs to be real, it needs to be art. That's not music, this is music, and whatnot. And then as soon as I heard the 1975, I was like, well, that's a bit of both.
Yep.
And it was the first time that I felt a band really connected with me, but it was also the same thing happened to Sam, and we both fell in love with this band. And that was kind of the changing point for us in terms of, our sound. And then from there, they inspired us to get in and start learning how to produce our own music and make our own demos, and so we could fully execute the ideas that were in our heads and whatnot. And then as it just went on, we just kept working on this pop sound. And then we met Fletcher Matthews in Sydney, and Get to Know You came out of that, and we were like, bang, that's it.
Yeah. I was funny that you mentioned the 1975, because it was in your press release and that, but that was definitely one of the things that came to mind when I was listening to the EP as well. Apart from when they released that full punky stuff. But like,
I remember listening to that for the first time, going, "What the fuck is this?"
Well,
and then,
it's grown.
And then it grew. Like the more I listened to it, it just grew on me. And now, like, it's in my playlist. I sit there and listen to it, and that's the thing with the 1975 is like they've released some questionable stuff for me that I'm like, I don't know whether I like this or not. And then the more I listen to it, the more it grows on me, and then they usually become like one of my favorite songs. So
that's the art of really good songwriting, though, too. Particularly if you're a fan of the band, and then all of a sudden they pull out something that's just like completely left of center and just going, oh, why did they do that? I was looking forward to them bringing out this song, and then you might just discard it, and then you'll go back to it a little bit later, just go, hang on a second, this is actually pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like, one of my favorite bands is Incubus, okay? And I've been following them since like Fungus Among Us, Enjoy Incubus days. So, like, cause man, I'm 42, so I was a teenager in the 90s, and Incubus has still been one of my favorite, and I still rank them as probably one of my favorite bands of all time. But they released this album in 2009, and I just went, they've gone Coldplay. I just couldn't fathom it, and I couldn't gel with the actual sound. And I listened to the album once and never went back to it. Then I saw them live a few times, and they started sneaking in some of these songs in the set that I was just going, oh, well, I don't remember this song. What the fucking song is this? It's actually pretty cool. And then I went, oh, it's off that album. And it's only been just recently that I've went, you know what? I'm going to give this album another listen, another try. There's one song in there I can't stand. The rest of it, I just went, actually, this is a pretty fucking cool album. So it's our responsibility as artists to grow. If you get stuck in the whole same sound thing, I mean, there's only a couple of bands in the world that can actually do that still, and that's Rolling Stones and AC/DC, really. Otherwise, you're just gonna lose your audience because they're gonna get bored and just go, and they'll just release the same shit over and over again. So it takes a little bit to appreciate new shit. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes you just need to sit with something. I know there's been a couple of songs that we've written where we've gone, oh yeah, no, that ain't it.
Yeah.
And then days later, putting it, just listening to it in the car and going, oh wait.
Well, that's literally what happened with one of the songs on the EP. We wrote Something to Feel, which is, I don't know what track it is, like the third track on the EP.
That's a cool fucking song though. That's actually one of my favorite ones on the EP.
Cheers. Yeah, well, we wrote that, and then it was kind of like a slow. It was like we had to speed it up later on, but we didn't listen to the song. We put it on a shelf and just didn't listen to it. Kind of just after that day when we wrote the song, we're like, yeah, it's a really cool song, but it didn't really fit with anything, and no one really had a good reaction to it like they had with all the other songs. Like, oh, it mustn't be as good. And then when we had the thought of doing an EP, we went back through our SoundCloud and like would listen to some songs, and then one day we were like, oh, what about that Something to Feel song? So we hopped back on. Well, we did the whole EP over Zoom with Fletcher Matthews.
I was going to ask this, but yeah.
And we hopped back on a Zoom call, and we're like, all right, let's try to fix up this song. Let's see if we can make this fit with all the other songs. And literally all we had to do was we sped the song up, made the bass hit a bit harder, I'm pretty sure, added a few different things. But that's how the song got onto the EP. Like all we literally had to do was speed it up, and then everyone's like, oh, we love this song. This song's sick. Like, oh, okay.
Was it a case of like ear fatigue for you guys though? Because I know that because I produce my own stuff too. So like I play in 3 bands. I play in a band called Mules, which is my baby, and I produce all that stuff. I know that from what you were saying, there's one that you didn't think was going to be one of your favorite songs, and all of a sudden you just gone, hang on a second, this song's pretty fucking cool. But is it a case of like ear fatigue because you've been listening to so much and you're just going, it's just your mindset and your ears have just gotten so tired, and you just kind of just gone, kind of over this song now?
Yeah, I mean, I think that happens to every artist. I'd be surprised if it didn't happen to somebody. I mean, I listen to our band more than I listen to any other band, which is, we had to do a Q&A the other day, and they asked us what our guilty pleasure in music was, and I put Sametime. But
it can get annoying because every time we have a car ride, we just end up fucking listening to ourselves, and I'm like, I want to listen to some other songs.
But I think I think a lot of the time, like especially when you're sitting on a Zoom call, you're not in the room feeling it, and making that connection with it. It's a bit hard sometimes to love the song unless it's like it's bopping. But it was just a case that the song just dragged, and we weren't really like feeling it in terms of like thinking that it could be something that we would be able to use. And so when it kind of had the barrier started kind of going up in front of it, and then once it was sped up, it kind of broke through that barrier pretty quickly. And it's honestly probably the best song in our live show as well now.
I think it also came, we were rehearsing one day, and we just got the stems back for it because we're like, oh, we want to see how this song sounds live.
Yep.
We got the stems and we started playing it, like just rehearsing it, and we all just looked at each other and went, this is shit. Like, this is just not hitting like it was meant to, like the recording was. And then I think that was at that point, it was like when we really put it on the shelf. We like tried to perform it live and it just wasn't working. So then when we came back to it and we sped it up, now, as Tim said, like in rehearsals and like live, it's one of our favorite songs to play. Every time like we come off stage and someone comes up to us like, oh, that's Something to Feel song, sick, like blah, blah, blah. We're like, okay, that's good to know. So
I think it's just a matter of not letting your initial opinion of the song, I mean, I guess it kind of helped us in the end, going, nah, we don't like this one, and putting it on the shelf. But sometimes it's just good to sit with it for a bit and just see what happens.
So learning how to produce and that sort of stuff, was that a fairly new thing for you guys to do that? Or did you basically, it's like, got to teach myself how to do this shit?
Well, when we were, I'd say I started using GarageBand.
Yep.
When I was probably like 14.
And it just merges into Logic and that sort of stuff for you.
Yeah. And I mean, back then I didn't even know like how to use the click track. I didn't know like how to, program any drums in or anything like that. I was literally just like recording into my laptop's microphone. And then there it just continued to, just by watching YouTube videos.
Yep.
And
he eventually learned how to quantize drums because all the original recordings of like when we first started, So bad.
I
Yeah, there's a lot of
hate quantizing, man. I hate quantizing drums. It just like, oh, it's just the worst thing. I hate it.
Depends on that. I mean, it's like I feel like live drums, you kind of want them to be a little bit ahead or a little bit behind,
Yeah,
and what. Whereas the drums we use are quite electronic sometimes.
yeah,
And they kind of need to be hitting right on the spot, but maybe with exception with the hi-hats or anything like that. But I did go to uni and study Bachelor of Popular Music, which kind of had a whole bunch of different things in it, which was like sound engineering, production, songwriting.
yeah.
A lot of this, I did come home and, look up on YouTube how to do some things that I learned at uni the previous week. And, at uni, it was all Pro Tools, and I'm a Logic man. So
Same.
I would just come home and do everything on Logic, and then go back to uni and be like, yeah, I did it on Pro Tools. I graduated. That's all good.
I did the exact same course, but I dropped out after a semester. But yeah, I've slowly learned my way around Logic as well, and we have a little studio at home, so it's always good. We can just come out here and we produce most of the demos that we do, and we can just send them off, and because it's just easier to try execute the ideas that we have in our head if we can manage to do a little shit version of it.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, at uni, I mean, I did my degree. I finished my degree in 2005, and it was a PR degree. And most of the shit that I learnt during PR degree now is not relevant now. So basically, as soon as you get out that door with that piece of paper, you're basically relearning shit again anyway. And so
that's just what the industry is.
It's constantly shifting and changing, and there's nothing wrong with like learning shit from like other people or YouTube instead of like being told by a lecturer. I'm sorry for people that are going to uni right now, but basically this is fucking what happens. I mean, most of the stuff because I did graphic design as well, but most of the shit I learned in uni I don't use now. I use stuff that I taught myself how to do it.
Yeah, we always say that we learn more stuff from, like, if we're in Sydney with a producer and we're in a session, like one of us will be sitting like in a chair directly next to the producer, just sitting there watching and learning.
Yep.
They know what they're doing, and we trust them with the work that we're doing. So like, it's always good to learn off them. So yeah, it's always good fun.
I should say a disclaimer here. This is to do with the creative arts and that sort of stuff, not being a doctor or anything, because I don't.
Yeah.
Stay in uni.
I don't think that's applicable to that kind of stuff. But yeah, like
don't watch YouTube tutorials on how to be a surgeon.
Tonsillectomy. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, that's messed up. So how'd you hook up with Fletcher? This is because did you actually fly down to Sydney and like before everything went to shit, and then
we got really lucky. So we went down to Sydney what was meant to be a week of recording what was meant to be the first single, and we'd spent like 5 or 6 days recording that song, finishing it. We had a few sessions in between, and then on the last day we got put into a session with Fletcher. And because we just finished recording the next single, we just went into this session open-minded. We're like, let's experiment, let's try something we haven't before, and let's do something new. And then that's how we just came up with Get to Know Ya in a few hours. And we walked out of that session and went, that's probably going to be the next single. It was like something just clicked, and it was crazy. And we knew straight away that was we were gonna scrap the other song and just go with Get to Know Ya, because the other song was like a dream poppy kind of acoustic, cool. It was it's a really cool song, but Get to Know Ya just for us hit different, and that was like the start of the EP, I guess.
Yeah,
and the whole sound. It was good, and that's how we met Fletcher. Then after that, we've only met him once, and we did a whole EP together, and it was
everything over Zoom. So you basically were bouncing stems down. You would do some stems at home, and then you basically send it through to Fletcher. He'd do the touch-ups and mixing on it, right?
We figured out a pretty like streamlined process probably by the second the second song that we did with them, which I think was Something to Feel. We did 2 days. It was Something to Feel, and then we did Till You're Not Okay. And Till You're Not Okay, we're like, oh, that's the next single. But, you know, we it was like record, and then we had a shared Dropbox folder that was just on the desktop, and we'd just flick it in there. He'd have it, and then it was in. It was, and you know, I guess that's just how music's made now. We've done a bunch of Zoom sessions with people since then now, and
just use Google Doc to write lyrics over the computer, and then it all happens really quickly. The only thing that stuffs it up is if you've got a bad Wi-Fi connection.
Well,
it's a bit hard.
Yeah,
we've had a few of those days where it's just lag. That's the hard thing with doing it over Zoom, is like we don't get to listen to the full song clearly all the way through until they send it to us like later.
Yeah,
because it slows down, it speeds up, it lags, it does all that. So we're just, and it sounds a little bit different over Zoom. Obviously. So like we just hope that when we get it back that it actually hits that way that we're assuming it will.
See, I never really thought of that, the whole like collaboration thing, working with a producer, obviously in these weird times. Yeah, I never really thought like trying to. Yeah, that just boggles the mind. What you're hearing, and then you're gonna basically have to put trust into what they're hearing is what you're hearing at the same time, and then you let them do their thing, and then come back. And what happens if it's not in the same mindset as what you're doing? Do you freak out a little bit?
I think, you know, it just depends, because like after the second session with Fletcher, that, you know, the process was made, and trust. There was a lot of trust between us, mainly because of what we did with Get to Know Ya. We were like, this guy really understands what we're looking for, even though that first session with him, we weren't looking for anything. It was kind of like instinctually we were all on the same page, and so. You know, there's some times where we'll get it sent back through, and like we go, oh, you know, this part here is not really that good, or isn't really working and whatnot, and just send an email off, and then changes. It just kind of just goes into like revisions at that point, because, you know, we're not in the room with him, so it's just kind of a back and forth until everyone's happy with the song. And then
I think we did like 3 Zoom sessions for the bridge of Something to Feel, like trying to figure out a new bridge for it, because the first bridge wasn't as good. And then I think like over a few different Zoom sessions, we finally came up with like a bridge that we loved and that we wanted to go with, which is like, the good thing is like we can just quickly jump on a Zoom call, because he lives in Sydney, so it's a bit hard for us to go, all right, let's fly down and try to fix this bridge. Like, no, we just jump on this. So yeah, that's what makes it easy, but it can be a little bit difficult sometimes.
Would you do it again? The same process?
Yeah, I think so, because until we can get down to Sydney and or Melbourne and do in-person sessions, like I definitely think it's a new way of producing, and like you can be anywhere when trying to write a song. We know we can be anywhere when trying to write a song now. Yeah. Because all we need is a good Wi-Fi connection. So, I think we will be doing it like a lot more.
I mean, we're already working on the next project. So it's and some of that has been done on Zoom. So, you know, it's just, it works. It worked for the EP, and it seems to be working at the moment so far. Obviously we'd love to, it's so much better being in the room and bouncing ideas around with everybody and
but
whatnot.
At the same time though, you're not paying per day for studio time, or are you? No. See, that's the difference, because that's when people, like, you guys have been in this industry enough for a long time now, and from a young age. When you see people going to, they're fairly fresh and they go into the studio, they freak out. One, probably because they haven't done any pre-production. So they just go in there, and that pisses the engineers off to no degree. Well, I've seen it. And then all the changes, they decide to make changes while they're like recording, and none of this shit it takes up valuable time. Two, it's wasting money. So
Yeah.
the whole like this process you guys are doing is actually one very economical, and therefore you're not paying for studio time. You do miss that studio experience, I guess, but
Yeah.
I mean, once you've been in a studio, you've been in every studio. There are some studios that are really fucking cool. I mean, Barefoot's recording Yamanui, and Yamanui's I fucking love that studio. It's a great one, and so is Paperbuck up here, and yeah, they are great. But at the same time, nothing beats like if you've got the whole thing set up here in your own home studio. You can be up until 1 o'clock in the morning because you just all of a sudden got this fucking creative idea and just going, fuck, that would be epic in that part. I'm just going to grab this instrument here or this fucking plug-in or this synth and chuck it in, send it off to the producer that you're working with, and they can do it at their own leisure and you hear back. I fucking love that.
Yeah, we just like there's been a few times where we just get the instrumental sent to us and we'll just sit here at in our studio and just like record a shit ton of vocals and then put them in the shed Dropbox, and he wakes up the next morning and just works on it because it's all there. So
yeah,
it does make it can be really easy or it can be really hard.
I do have to say though, like recording drums in a real proper studio there's nothing quite like it. So that's
you need the right environment to record drums, live drums. But you know, a lot of the biggest songs in the world now are made at home.
Yeah.
It's just how it is, and I mean that's mainly talking with pop music, not necessarily.
A lot of metal stuff too.
True.
Yeah, like I know because I listen to all sorts of genres apart from sort of like country and trap. I don't do trap, but even some countries, you can definitely tell that some of it's been recorded in a big studio and some of it's not. It's fucking cool though.
It's just a new way. I think it's just what everyone's got to realize now is that especially in Australia where we can't travel to different states at the moment, like if you're an up and coming musician and you want to be recording and collaborating with others, you got to learn to do it over Zoom or over whatever. And that's like, unless you're going to do it yourself and you don't want to collaborate with others, it's the only way possible. So that's what we've kind of just realized, is that we want to keep collaborating with others. So we've had to get used to it and just accept it that this is the new way of doing it for now.
Yeah,
but it's a good tool to have in our belt. You know, even once things go back to somewhat normal, you know, if we need to work with somebody overseas, then we know how to. So it's, you know, I think it's a good tool for every you know, songwriter producer to have in their back pocket for sure.
So one very cool thing for you guys, I mean, you've got a whole heap of shows coming up. You already did one at Kings Beach Tavern, but I mean, you're back playing at Soul Bar. Was it next month?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you finally get to play Caloundra Music Festival as like a full band instead of as the duo.
Yeah.
That's it. You know, we've always loved, you know, Caloundra Music Festival. It was the first festival that, you know, we went to as you know,
didn't you win like busking comps out the front, and that's how you got in?
First festival we ever played, really. We used to do enter in the busking comps, and we won it a few times, which got us the opportunity to play on one of the stages. So yeah, it was the first festival. Well, Tim originally started by himself, won the busking comp. With the money bought me a cajon. We started busking together.
Wicked.
We won it together, and then it's
poetic.
It is.
What day are you guys playing?
On the Friday.
Right.
7th.
Do you know what stage? Do you know what stage you got?
The song.
The song.
I think.
Really?
So from what we've been told is that they're having 2 stages in the main amphitheater.
Right.
And so there'll be the big main one.
Yeah.
I think they've done it before.
That's the
big main one and then a smaller one on the side.
No, hang on, song.
I think it's the
Soul stage,
one.
yeah.
And then there's a smaller stage next to it. And so we're on that smaller stage right before San Cisco comes on.
Oh damn, that's cool.
we were like, yeah, that's we'll take that. Yes,
Yeah.
please.
They can get a big crowd, so hopefully we can entertain the people sitting there waiting to watch San Francisco.
That's actually a win because I remember when because Barefoot's playing again this year, but I think we're playing the Saturday, so we're playing on this. I think we're Sun Stage. I don't know. I haven't been told shit. I just turn up and play.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah, but Sun Stage is always a fun one. But I remember the first year we played on the Soul Bar stage, which I don't know if this exists anymore, but that was right next to the Surf stage, and we played just before the Jungle Giants played.
Oh wow!
And there was a massive crowd. It was insane. We're just like, cool. Like this is a bit of a score, you know. And people have been forced to listen to reggae while they wait. Yes. It's cool.
It's a hijack other people's audiences. And
it's brilliant move, man. So that works in your favor big time. I mean, you guys got a good following up here anyway, but it definitely works in your favor.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
It'll be good for people because, you know, being on the Sunshine Coast and been playing on the Sunshine Coast just as long as we have, a lot of people still think that we're buskers.
Good point. Yeah.
And we're the kids from the markets.
Yeah.
You know, 12 and 9 years old, and so, you know, it'd be a good chance, I think, for everybody here on the sunny coast to see what we are now.
Because you're a 5-piece band now, is that right? Or was it 4?
Yeah, we got 3 of our mates that play with us.
Yeah.
You know, we don't want to do. We still love having, you know, lead guitar and big synth bass and live drums in our shows. So, you know, we've got a group of very talented young men playing behind us and helping us create what is going to be a very, very fun live show.
Well, like I said, when I saw you guys play at Night Quarter, it was a perfectly polished pop machine. Like I said, I was like, holy shit, this is not what I was expecting. So yeah, it was impressive.
Same, I think a lot of people feel the same when they see us after probably not seeing us for a few years. But that's also what we love. We love taking people by surprise and being like, getting them to go, oh fuck, they've grown up a little bit. That's cool.
How dare you? You're not supposed to grow up. Especially you, Sam. Like you've grown 2 foot over probably the last time someone's.
So tall. Every time we play, I can't jump as high as I want to because I'll hit my head on the ceiling. And it's the same with a lot of stages, actually.
Yeah,
there's been plenty of time clocked his head on a lighting rig or something.
Yeah, you're lucky you never played like the Crowbar downstairs in Brisbane, man. That stage was low.
Yeah, I've been scared of chucking a fist through the roof at some stage because sometimes I get to it and I'm like, oh, I don't want to put a hole in the roof. So. I'm sure it'll happen one day accidentally. I don't mean to do it, but
Tim, you were saying that you were sort of adverse to VSTs and synths and that sort of stuff, but obviously you've changed your opinion on that now. Have you got a bit of a go-to?
Oh, I can't really show you. I've got a Juno sitting next to me here.
All right.
That's my most recent. You know, I actually got it as a gift, but you know, it was when we were down in Sydney maybe 3 years ago, and I played one and I was like, this is like the best thing ever. And then for years I've been wanting one, but you know, they're so hard to come by.
Does yours glitch out? Or is it all right?
See, this is what I was getting to is like, I was looking for so long, but every single one that I could find in Australia was either, you know, this part's not working or you might need to get the chip fixed and whatnot.
Yep.
And then I found that's almost, it's pretty much brand new.
That's a score, man.
It was, it's called the Kiwi 106. It's essentially it's got all fresh chips in it. And it works perfectly fine. Still a Juno, but it's kind of upgraded a bit. And so I was very happy. As soon as I saw it, I snapped it up. I did not hesitate. I was like, that's it. But other than that, you know, we've bought that many VSTs in the last, you know, year, just of new sounds and because it's the same as getting like a new guitar. As soon as you get a new guitar, you write 10 songs in that guitar,
And then you want to get
know,
another new guitar.
That's it. And then so VSTs are great because you get one and you're like, oh, that's awesome, but then you have like 150 patches that you can like, and then it's all these different types of sounds, and then you're like, oh, this is cool. Write a song with that patch, and then and sometimes they're only like $50, and you're like, this is awesome. Unless you torrent it, which I may have done a couple of times, but
not judging at all.
They always end up not working, and then we go, fuck, we really missed that one. Let's just buy it.
See, one of my favorite discoveries was Spitfire Labs.
Yeah,
just because of the free stuff on there. I use a lot of the choruses on there and the sound effects sort of patches that you get. It's like I've used the London train station one. I actually use it as a rhythm section.
Yeah,
I loved it.
That's sick.
Yeah, it's fun though.
Yeah, that's it. It's that's why I mean we've fallen in love with producing, and I've even started producing for other bands now. And,
I had heard that.
Yeah, so that was pretty fun. But it's just being able to create sounds and manipulate audio and do all that is just so fun. And I mean, we've even started remixing our own songs, but other people's songs, just for the fun of it. It's just fun to make a big sidechain doof doof song.
Are you gonna release that sort of shit? Put it out in SoundCloud, man.
Yeah, well, we today we remixed a song off the EP called "Nothing I Can Change."
Is that the first song? Track one?
Yeah.
So
we always joked about because heaps of bands are doing it these days, where they're doing like DJ sets.
Yeah.
Their songs and have remixes of them. They come out and do like a DJ set of it. And we always joked about doing a DJ set of our songs. We don't have a DJ desk or anything like that, but we thought we both just one day went, oh, that'd be kind of fun to just try it out and see if we could remix our songs. And so we did the first one, and it sounds pretty cool and pretty fucking epic. So we'll see what we can with all the other ones, but it's just good
make
fun.
An intro song to when you come onto stage. Just sneak that in there somehow.
We've also done something that we're thinking we'll probably put out on Spotify, but we did essentially a Bond version of Something to Feel.
Ooh.
Where it's right down. I know we've just spent half the podcast talking about how slow the song was and how we didn't like it, but we slowed it down and had really nice piano and strings in it. And it sounds like it should be in a Bond film. So hopefully one day it might. But we're thinking maybe it'd just be cool to show people that we still can make this type of music. We still enjoy making that power ballads and things like that.
And just alternate versions of our songs. It's cool showing people
why
a
not
different version of.
I mean, there's another band I mean called Swimsuit Issue, and it's indie, but we do a lot of shoegaze sort of stuff. But Danny, the main songwriter, he'll do 3 or 4 different versions of the goddamn song.
Yeah,
and that's cool because we get to pick and choose which one works in a live set and which one we think will work as a release. And then if we want to make the other ones, we record it, and if we want to, we can release it as an alternative version and just make it a B song, fucking whatever.
Yeah, it's really cool to reimagine our songs.
Definitely.
And that we're very new to. So, and we've even talked about potentially chucking snippets of them into the live set. But we're just gonna figure it all out, which should be cool.
Make a medley out of the shit. That'd be cool.
That's it. Probably. I mean, I know the Sametime shows we've got coming up at the venues. We're keeping it pretty tame, but for CMF we're planning on kind of just letting shit go crazy.
Why not? That's the opportunity to fucking take.
We just want to be as big and bombastic as possible and just make people go, what is going on? This is nuts. So you got to come see that show. That'll be a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, lads, we just hit the 39-minute mark, and I usually keep these things to 40 minutes. So it might not have felt like 40 minutes of waffling on, but we got there.
It was good
It's
fun.
good.
So we'll wrap this up. The EP came out like 2 weeks ago, didn't it? Was it 2 weeks? Or last week?
Okay.
Last week.
Last
yeah.
week, yeah. I've only just come back from holidays, so it's just for me. But
It's
yeah. So maybe we can get high is out now. I'll chuck the link in the description and also whatnot. So if you're listening to this on Spotify, it'll be in the description. If you're watching this on YouTube, then it'll be in the description below. Catch these guys. Soulbar is in mid-October. Hang on, I've got the dates here. Hang on.
Yeah, I think it's the 17th. If I'm
No. It's the
No,
5th.
it is the 15th. Yep, Tim was right. So you've got October 1st at Caloundra Music Festival, October 14th at the Zoo. Fuck, I love the Zoo, even though it's old and they've refurbished it. So I played that stage about a month ago, and yeah, I love that venue.
It's good fun.
Soulbar on the 15th, Moe's on the 17th, and then Valley Fiesta. Oh shit, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Some
Very, very.
that gets loose at that thing. Now, have you been to Valley Fiesta before?
Haven't. So
Man, those
You
things
know.
have been going for years, and yeah, shit gets loose. Yeah, cool. Have fun, guys.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we will. Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. Hang on the line there. I'll give you a bit of a debrief, but everyone else, ciao. Thanks for listening. I really appreciated that chat. Big ups to Tim and Sam from Sametime for basically being my first podcast back after a little break. If you dug this one and haven't heard any previous podcasts, dig through previous episodes. Have a listen. You might enjoy it. Maybe. You should. Some pretty cool guests on there. Thank you for supporting local music, live music, Australian music, all sorts of music. You guys are legends. Stay tuned because there's more coming. Yay. See ya.